The effects are surrounding us! Ghost, what should I... Ghost? The Traveler out of light? No. No! You think I'm gonna go down without a fight? Yeah! Bring it on! Come on! G'day there guys and girls, my name is Fatman and this is the Destiny review. I haven't done one of these in a long time, so let's get straight to the point. For those who have yet to play Destiny, Destiny takes place around about 700 years into the future, where a godlike figure known as the Traveler is the savior of humanity. However, you, the Guardian, are dead, and you are brought back by a spark of light called Ghost. This ghost finds you in the ruins of old Russia and brings you back to life to face against the darkness, which is coming back again to destroy the Traveler as well as all life in the galaxy. And this is where you come in. Players get to choose up to 3 races. Human, Awoken, which is some sort of mystical human, and pretty much robot. And after customizing and making it how you want, you get to set forth on your adventure to save the Traveler, the last piece of the city of humanity and Earth, the last city, the very, very last one, as well as everything in the galaxy from the darkness. For those of you who don't read my online reviews, I base all reviews over a 6 checkpoint system for every single game and evaluate it on those checkpoints to equal its final tally score. Those 6 checkpoints are storyline, voice acting, gameplay, musical score, sound effects, and if only the game presents it, multiplayer, and that includes co-op. So that's what I am going to be basing my review in this video on. First off, I'm going to get to the core of what makes a game a good game. Gameplay. It is fun and addictive. There is no doubt that the game of Destiny is absolutely perfect when it comes to that. The gunplay is fluid as well as the controls. The customization is brilliant, while some options are a little bit odd, such as color skins for your armor being locked until like level 18. That's a little odd, but otherwise the gameplay itself is very fluid, it's very organic, and it moves perfectly. It each has a setup, a plotline, and then an ending, which is set perfectly within each mission. So essentially, you get down to the planet or moon or whatever, and you travel to a specific area, you fight a load of dudes, you get to a climax, mission over. That's essentially what the core plot of the gameplay is. And even with the free roam, it's essentially that as well. Travel to a new area, pick a mission or not, and kill loads of enemies, as well as collecting missions, killing a specific boss, and that type of stuff. Friends or randoms dropping in and out of your game is really well done. So, especially in free roam or on strikes, in free roam, when you go to a new area, you can meet new players, or you can meet your friends, and you can just blitz through an entire level killing all the enemies. That's what makes it cool. With strike missions, which are definitely the strong point of the game, you can either play with 2 of your friends or 2 random people, and I definitely recommend playing with friends and as well as randoms, because meeting random people in the game is brilliant. There is nothing much satisfying than killing a boss that you've been stuck on for the last 10 minutes that keeps beating you, all of you, over and over and over, and then you finally kill it. It's burning down to ash, you're shooting it in the ashes, and in the final toast of victory you start dancing on the spot where it died. There is nothing that comes close to satisfying as that. Each mission has its own different directory, but a lot of them are mostly go out there, kill these guys, get a reward, which is mostly the basis of every single FPS ever. But with Destiny, it does give a lot of pretext, such as go to this area, destroy this item, and the Traveler might be able to heal. Go to this area, kill this guy who's bogging down a lot of our Guardians. It's really, really fluid in that motion. What really enhances onto the gameplay is the musical score and sound effects. And before I start, sorry Martin O'Donnell, but the musical score is absolutely brilliant. It perfectly suits into the world of Destiny, with its orchestral score leading up into the horror of the darkness and leading down to a giant down tunnel, and then it swoops up as you see a giant enemy take over the entire battlefield, and you're trying to gun it down with a slight bit of guitar and drums, and then you have the flourish of violins just pour into your ears. It sounds beautiful, and the sound effects really enhance on that. Each enemy sounds totally different. coming from the Fallen to the Vex, each has its own unique sound. And even with the weaponry, you can distinctly hear differences in auto rifles as well as fusion rifles, shotguns, the whole 9 yards. Each different category sounds different. Well, comparing auto rifle to auto rifle, they do sound extremely similar, but otherwise there are a few key differences in that fact. But otherwise, it helps the gameplay and really lifts it up and holds the whole entire thing together to immerse yourself into the game of Destiny. Arguably, the biggest controversy even before the game came out was the voice acting. While the voice acting is slightly minimal in the fact of there are very few cutscenes in between missions, the voice acting, what is there, is great. It's not the best in the world, it's not really out there in emotion and raw depth, but it does the job. It is good. It is perfectly suited to that situation. And with Peter Dinklage as your Ghost, or as some people are dubbing him, the Dink Bot, aka Ghost, he does an amazing job and he deserves all the rewards. All of them. He really ties in the game as the Ghost. Even as a Ghost and doing a robot voice, he really does add emotion. And while there isn't a lot of emotional depth or development between your Guardian as well as Ghost, it essentially starts out with, alright Ghost, where should I go and what should I do? Go over there and kill that thing in the temple. Okay. By the end of the game, you've essentially gotten to comic relief with Ghost asking you, are you sure you can kill that thing? And I say thing so I don't spoil anything. But even though there isn't much plot development with voice acting, it is still decent. What really shines in the voice acting is the free roam voice acting. So when you go to the tower and socialize, and you're running past the shipyard, or you're running to go see the speaker, everybody has their own unique voice, and they're just saying random things. They're saying, oh what, that shipment hasn't come in yet? Ah, damn it. And it really feels organic. It actually feels like you're in this place. That it feels a functional, living, breathing place in which everyone is trying to survive, where the key goal is to get supplies, get what we need, get out there and kill stuff. That's essentially what the tower is, by the way. But with the voice acting, it really helps bring the entire thing alive. And even with characters such as the Vex, or the Fallen, or the Cobots, and I'm probably mispronouncing that, but regardless, those people have their own voices, and you can hear them scream in their death, and you can hear them yell, go get them, kill that Guardian, da da da, and it really helps tie in the game. This is the portion of the review where I mentioned stuff that I wasn't extremely satisfied with, and it really pains me to say this, but storyline. Now don't get me wrong, the storyline in Destiny is great. It is cool, it is awesome, and to see a game with that amount of lore is very rare these days, where weapons, pieces of armor, items, and even the storyline itself has little bits of information as well as leading up to all this different type of information in the game. But the only issue with making a game with a massive lore is that developers unfortunately leave unfinished storylines in the game. So what I mean by that is they essentially open the doors to this massive amount of lore. Oh, this thing happened and now we need to solve it. And then it just remains a big circle in the story. I mean, it doesn't have a concluded ending. And that's one of the massive faults about the storyline with Destiny, is that it never explains its plot holes. It never explains what is going on and what is happening. And the biggest shame in the game is the Reef. The Reef is on the edge of the darkness. It is the very edge of the last piece of where the light can reach in the galaxy. And once you travel there, spoiler alert, there are only 2 missions in the Vex. One you don't even get to activate, and both are cutscenes. Don't get me wrong, I love the cutscenes. They are brilliant pieces of cutscenes because you rarely get them in the game. But an entire area on launch for 2 missions, and none of which have exploration. The Reef is the edge of the light and dark, and is absolutely surrounded by these destroyed ships. And it has a queen of the Awoken, someone who has followers of the Fallen. The Fallen are her bodyguards. She has a brother, and none of them explain. You don't even get to learn their names. It's just Queen and brother. That's it. And it's such a shame because even if you have the capability of having ships in Destiny, yet you don't offer a ship mission in a giant ship graveyard. There's no mission where you get to fly out, go to a ship and salvage it for parts like old Mass Effect 2 style, where you go to a planet, you hit a probe and you get some items. There's none of that, which is really a huge shame. I wish there was more done with the Reef. And even that, even if there's going to be DLC with that type of stuff in the future, or even DLC with the Reef involved in the future, because the Queen does say, when I need you, I'll call you, and you only get one mission with her, it's really such a huge shame because, well, the Reef goes to waste and it leaves so many unopened plot holes. And sadly, it's not just in the Reef. In the entirety of the game, we have this huge build-up to what is Destiny, what is the Darkness, what is the Traveler, why is Ghost help me even though he has consciousness. It has all this huge build-up for nothing. Spoiler alert, the entirety of the game is just those missions that you play. Even the ending mission is just like a normal standard mission. And it's such a shame because it leaves so many plot holes. It leaves them all open for the possibility of a sequel. And it leaves too many open for a sequel. And yes, obviously, because Destiny has done really well so far, there's definitely going to be a sequel. You can pretty much call that now. But it leaves way too much to the imagination. There's too many plot holes. So, who is the Queen? Who is her brother? Why has she got Fallen following her? Why is she on the Reef? Why is she leading these people, leading the Awoken in the Reef? Why is there a massive shipwreck graveyard? What's the story behind that? Why is the Mars Bandits, essentially the Korbols, why are the Korbols part of the Darkness enemy even though they're human? All these questions are unanswered. So, spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking about the ending in like 20 seconds, but I'm not going to be spoiling any major things. I'm just going to be kind of riffing around that. So, the ending of the game is not an ending, and it's really such a shame because it's just a standard mission. I mean, it's cool. It has this huge bit of going to a specific area and finding this thing. And the only way I can describe the ending is by making a Mass Effect reference. So for the Mass Effect fans out there, or anyone who's played Mass Effect, the original Mass Effect, there is a mission where you fight Matriarch Benezia, who is a huge Asari badass. She fights a Shepard, essentially, by sending out her powers to all these little minions who come and attack you. There's 3 waves to that, and she dies. That is essentially the ending to Destiny. You get all these little waves of people, and, well, a major boss thrown in the middle. 3 of them. That's it. That's how the game ends. And then you get followed up by a 2-minute cutscene, some irrelevant commentary about how the war's not over, the fight is still out there, and 2 pieces of gifts. You get a Mote of Light. If you play this on normal, all you get is a Mote of Light and the Stranger's Weapon. And that just gives you more questions. Who is the Stranger? Who is she working for? Where the hell does she come from? Does she live on Venus? Where is the people that she's working for? Who are the people she was talking to? Does she work for the Awoken? Does she work for the Queen? It just leaves huge amounts of the story and plot open, and that is such a shame, because by the end of it, it's, alright, the fight is still out there, we can make pretty speeches now, here, take my weapon, we better get out there, zoom, back to main menu, no cut to credits, no nothing, it's just, you're done. There's no more story missions, you can just go play the Crucible. And that's another bit of shame that Destiny presents is the multiplayer, the Crucible. Because even if you decide to play the Crucible after you finish the storyline, you're set to 4 modes. That's it. And it feels like the development of the Crucible was only there because they had to tick off a checklist. You have 4 different modes to choose from, which are Collect the Flag, Team Deathmatch, Free-for-all, or Collection. And when I say Collection, I mean you go out, collect a relic, and bring it back to your team. That's it. You can play the strike missions and the free roam missions and all that over and over again. You even have harder difficulties for the strike missions, which I definitely recommend because the strike missions are where the game really, really shines. But for the multiplayer to have 4 modes and have around about 8 maps, each planet or moon has around about 2 maps each, 1 or 2 maps, they're beautiful, by the way. The graphics are absolutely terrific. But 4 modes. That's it. So I don't know what to say. It just seems like with the multiplayer, they've just ticked it off and go, yep, that's done. I should also mention that loading in between the games is kind of a big hassle as well, because after you finish a game and get your rewards, you get pretty much back to the planet and it shows how many people are joining the team. If after about 2 minutes, if you only have 6 people, the game will automatically start. If you have 5 or 4, it'll wait around until a few people join, but if nobody joins, you just kick straight back to the main menu to choose where to go. And it's really such a shame, and that's why I say that the multiplayer itself, like the connectivity and the gameplay and everything else, it is brilliant. It is good, it is fun, and it's pretty much just below or subpar to Titanfall, but to have all those issues of being kicked back, at least with Titanfall, even if you have too many low teams, it will constantly keep you in the game, which is, well, slightly disappointing. I can keep going on and on about nitpicking at Destiny and what makes it bad and what makes it good, but I'll essentially boil it down to this. There is no doubt in my mind that Destiny is a fun, creative game for you to play with yourself, with your friends, or with random people that you meet who will soon be your friends. The lore and customization, as well as the voice acting, the graphics, everything looks beautiful, plays beautiful, feels beautiful. The only fault that the game makes is that it kind of sums everything up to a checklist. And by the end of the game, it will feel more like you're not trying to get to the end of the game, you're just trying to tick off a checklist. As one of my favorite reviewers once said, a game is supposed to be fun, not feel like a boring chore. And unfortunately to me, by the end of the game storyline, it felt like a boring chore. The ending mission was less harder than some of the starting missions on Earth. Some of the strike missions are even harder. Yeah. So, with that being said, I officially give Destiny the game a 7 out of 10. It is a great game. It is fun. I definitely recommend you play it, but I don't see myself, I just don't see myself playing a second playthrough of the storyline. I may just do it to see what it's like to play as a Titan or a Hunter, but essentially, for a massive title that's been hyped up for the last 2 years, believe the hype. Do not believe the hype. It's fun and it's great, but it has its flaws. So, that's where I'm calling it quits. Yeah. Thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. Bam, subscribing is always fantastic, and I really do appreciate it. Click that subscribe button all the way down there if you want to see more of me. My name is Fatman, and as always, have fun, and game on.